Okay, so still here. Survived night one, my first ayahuasca experience. It was super intense, but somehow at the same time it was like equally as intense as it was soothing and just like perfect transition into this world. And you know, I felt like waves of this intensity from smoking DMT before, but the DMT is just so fast and shocking that your body and your mind struggle to keep up with it, and and sometimes it's so overwhelming how fast it came on that it feels like maybe you did something wrong, or you resist it a little more. And with this, in the setting that we were in a big giant circle, maybe 15 to 20 people, all facing a central candlelit kind of sacred space, altar space, and it was just so, it came on so mellow and just perfect and soothing. It was like soothing, and you know, I just kept he told me to remember, the main shaman told me to remember that that any information, like he's like, I'm not gonna get hurt. Any information that comes is coming from my higher self to just teach me exactly what I need to learn. And so I was able to like retain that and remember that. It wasn't like something that through the waves of intensity, there was always that message that was still there, that, you know, this is what I need and this is what I'm learning, and I was just accepting everything. And there was when it first started coming on, you know, I had my eyes open, you know, I was meditating, just sitting in like the lotus position, meditating, and then, you know, I'd open my eyes and kind of move around, and the depth of the room started getting really a lot longer, and the colors changed. And then that central altar piece, it was a circular carpet, and it almost started to like rise up, and I was like entering this whole new dimension. And that's when it was like I was crossing dimensions. I can hear like this crackling sound, and it's like almost like a needle scratching on a record. I can hear this crackling, and then like when I realized what was happening, it was like me between dimensions, and it was the sound of like dimensions tearing. And as I like let go, the crackling would stop, and I would enter this world of perfection. And I can't even begin. I feel like most of what happened, it wasn't even very visual. It was just like experiential. Like I was just the experience of these things happening, and of just memories. It would just trigger memories that would trigger a sense of everything is perfect, and like this is exactly like it gave me a sense of like the whole cosmos, and how everything's happening from from like consciousness being born in the Big Bang all the way to like the expansion and like dissolving of consciousness, and then how love pulls it all together. There's my German friend. He's a tour bus. He drove the tour bus for Korn and with Jonathan Davis, and he was an awesome guy. So there was like they're just going from like experiencing where consciousness came from, and then everything turned from like consciousness coming here through like the Big Bang, or this explosion of understanding and love, to it being translated into language. And you know, I've been watching a lot of Terrence McKenna videos, and I don't know if like the part of the language came from that, but he is really big on, he says language is everything. It's like the fabric of the world. And I feel like language is like the second step to like consciousness. Like first consciousness is here, and then there's like this divine connection. And then from that divine connection, there's like the experience, and then some people shape it into language, and then that language is like distributed amongst all people and the masses to be digested. And it's like only certain, you know, like certain shamans are able to like cross this plane and then bring back what happens into language. And it's I was able to see people that in my whole life that have been like shamanic characters, and these people like ascended masters who have been doing this, and people I've met, and I got glimpses of experiencing what it was they've been experiencing, and how they've shaped their consciousness into the perfection of their life. And I mean, people from my old boss, people I've just done other psychedelics with, Alexandra's dad, who's like a shaman, and I used to have some sort of judgment on him because he drinks heavily, but like after it was just total acceptance of everything, and everything made sense, and the way you handle certain things, and your pursuit of just putting language into your life experience and your passion and your purpose, and the reason you're like, how this explosion of consciousness, how you've shaped that into the perfection of your life. There was moments where I experienced like the fabric of dreams. I was experiencing like dreams of perfection, like paradise beaches, and people who are living the dream, like tour guide operators who I've met in like Egypt, and photographers who are just like climbing mountains, taking pictures, and like the experience of like an eagle, like the ultimate consciousness just soaring over Earth, and then like watching, interpreting it into language, and then somehow the perfection of everything allows you to make money off that and survive and thrive and motivate other people, and just to become an explosive, radiating source of just consciousness and perfection. And I felt myself, as I aligned with these certain these dreams, I can feel, you know, I would go through the waves of hearing that crackling, right, and crossing dimensions, and I can feel if, like, I was getting these points where if I allowed myself, and I was totally healed, that I felt like I could have entered this place of perfection, and when I came out here, you know, after this retreat, that I would be able to literally just live that whole dream. Like I would deserve it. It would be a part of my life. I had found the source of the passion and love that would reflect into me and other people to enable me to live that life. And like, so there was ways, it was just so extreme, that the amount of things that I'd have to learn and let go of to allow that to happen. And sometimes it's scary, like that you see people living these dreams and you think it's all easy, but there's like, and the people who can talk about these certain like beautiful experiences with language, it seems so easy, but the depth of it, to be able to talk about these beautiful things, you have to experience like this ultimate scary death, just pure death, and then get beyond the death and touch like this source of just pure beauty, and to touch it so clearly that it just comes through you and radiates through your eyes, and just all that's left is to be reflected, is to reflect love into other people in the universe. And it just seems that everything would just, you can just like, if you allow yourself, you can manifest just the ultimate dream you've ever had. And it's, if you just believe that you deserve it, and to let go all the barriers in between, that it's just your mind-made barriers. And like, I could feel the ayahuasca aligning me with these dreams, and the most beautiful dreams I've ever had, of being with the most beautiful women, and of enlightened people, and just I mean, traveling, being on the top of mountains, taking pictures, sharing them, and just inspiring people through my life. And I could just like writing books. I had experiences of Jesus crossing the desert, and what it was like in the way consciousness it goes through waves of like with the weather of just like certain moments are just perfectly ripe, and then other moments how consciousness can become like a seed and go dormant, and love, consciousness and love can become like a dormant seed just waiting for the perfect conditions, and then it sprouts again. And in that sprouting experience, I felt myself in like a shell, and that I was being reborn. Like literally, I can physically feel like it was like I was coming out of an eggshell, like a lizard or a dinosaur being like born. You know, like sometimes like one of my eyes wasn't even open, and I could feel it like, you know, as if you opened your eyes for the first time, and like, you know, the other one's still shut, and like a baby being born, or like it reminded me exactly of the experience. The water's getting close. It reminded me exactly of the experience of seeing like a lizard come out of a shell. And so then I'd be faced with the intensity of like, I kept getting through these waves of wanting to curl up into a ball, which I resisted. There was these waves of wanting to curl up into a ball and be nurtured more and stay dormant, like being just nurtured from just not ready, like almost like a baby in the womb, and then, or being born. And so when I was resisting the curling up, I would stay straight and be born, and my legs would involuntarily start moving, like I was like walking or shaking off, or like on this pursuit to just going and learning and becoming somebody, and like walking with my consciousness. And so like I just kept like I had this irresistible urge to just keep like shaking off, like as if I was experiencing my legs for the first time, and like to just like what it would be like to just walk. And so these waves, that was the intensity. It's very hard. Damn, the water is coming up. It's very hard to, it's so easy to want to curl up into this ball and just be nurtured more. And for me to just accept that this moment was for me, and that like everything that brought me here was the fact that I want to be reborn. And so I kept having to remind myself that I want to be reborn, and just the intensity of the things that would go along with that. Like I had to die, and then I had to relearn everything. And I was shown like the perfection of the skills that I've been given, and the place and the people that I've met, and like how it's all just perfect, and just all of it is a part of me and my dream, and everybody else's, and like how it just meshes perfectly together. But they're all like a reflection of what I'm looking for, and the certain people come into my life at times that give me these little pointers, or these little, like, they're just like guides, spirit guides. And through drinking the ayahuasca, I was able to point out all these people and these pivotal moments and these inspirational people that have like brought me to this point of allowing me to rebirth, and that I know that they've rebirthed, and so that like they were like guides, and just keep going, and to inspiration of how they've lived their life and how perfect they've able to shape their lives. And man, just the sense of perfection that I felt, it was just like memories, and just memory over memory, and layers of perfection like weaved it all together. But like it was literally like I was experiencing the fabric of dreams and consciousness, and of like religion and everything. There was like strong, heavy points where I was experiencing like the birth of language, the Bible, and Jesus. And I experienced Jesus's life like from those waves of going into a desert for 40 days, and what it would be like where consciousness right closes down and it goes dormant while it goes into this endless this pursuit into this endless void, to all of a sudden bloom and blossom in love, and to transcribe this eternal world, whatever eternity that he experienced out in like the abysses that he had to go to to cultivate depth and compassion, I was able to experience all of that as like my consciousness was the same as Jesus Christ's, and it felt like I experienced what it was like where consciousness chose like this galaxy, this solar system, and all of a sudden showed eternity to man, and then gave them language, and then they turned the language into a Bible and a guide for others to be able to experience this without, you know, to experience the eternal in human form is so rare and for most people think impossible, and the depth of eternity, like from death to birth, like it's very intense and hard, and so to put that into language, and so it was like I was like experiencing like the birth of the Bible, and how eternity was translated into language, and language was put into these sacred texts, and like I felt like Jesus's life 2,000 years ago. I felt, like I said, the Big Bang, and like you know, I go through crackling and things would get just deeper and wide, and it felt like the beginning of consciousness I experienced, and then like the perfection of everything, and then like I kept being born. I would go through these waves of kind of wanting to curl up, and I wouldn't do it, but you know, like sometimes like my stomach would be intense from the ayahuasca, and then these waves are just like, okay, I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna be born, and wow. So yeah, I drank it. Wow. I did not vomit or shit or any. I held it in for hours, and I don't know if that was good or bad. You know, there was waves of discomfort in my stomach, but that same waves, it felt so cleansing. I can feel it working in my body, and like I can feel it healing. Like my knee has been bothering me, and I had to walk really far to get here with the backpack, and so my knee has been like throbbing, and I can feel the ayahuasca like pulsing through my whole body and just healing everything from like my mind, like my brain, my muscles, my like the ligaments in my body. I can just feel it like healing and relaxing and soothing. It was just soothing and healing. The first time the shaman came over to me, I was just like laid back, just like blown away by everything, and he like came over me and asked how I was doing, and I was just like, it's so healing. That's all I could say. I was just like, healing, it's healing. And you know, there was the other waves where all I could say was like Jesus, and like love, and love just kept coming back into me, because that was my intention. I sat pretty heavy with my intention for weeks now, and when I finally got here, I set my intention really heavy right before I drank it, of experiencing love and opening my heart, and that was just carried through. Like I can feel that my intent, like not everybody could have the experience that I was able to have, because my intention was so set. Part of my heart had like given up. There wasn't really any fear, because I truly wanted to be reborn, and so I just allowed whatever to happen and be shown to me, and to try not to be afraid of it. There's so much more I need work to do to open my heart. Like my heart, I can feel like it opening, and how far I am from actually having a just totally open heart, where I'm just like living like, you know, when you meet somebody that's just energetic and inspiring and charismatic, like, and that comes from like being touched by the source of all this. And I saw the source, but I didn't let it like totally just heal my heart and wrap itself around me. Like there was waves of it opening, but for some reason I was more maybe trapped in my head a little bit, and this language thing, and trying to like turn it into words maybe. I mean, for the most part, now that I've experienced it, I think this next session, which last night when people were talking about, you know, how we were going to do ayahuasca again and Bufo alvarius and Rambo, I couldn't imagine, just from maybe my stomach discomfort, I couldn't imagine going through this again. Like, but at the same time, I know that there's more work to be done, and I can't imagine what the next one will be like. It's just like from being that reborn to maybe to just keep going with it, the rebirth, and to just keep remembering to just open my heart, and like I want to learn. I want to get to the depth of compassion, and to get to the depth of compassion, you have to get through the depths of suffering, and all the way, and to be touched by it, and to be touched by the light in suffering. So I guess I got to go pretty deep into it to get to that point, and it should be extremely intense. I hope that I can handle it and just take in all there is to learn. I know I'm just going to go into it again with the same mentality, like this is what my higher self is showing me. This experience is all the experiences I've ever had, I've created for this understanding and for this rebirth and transformation, and so that I can share my whatever touches me, so I can share my open heart with the world, and to just inspire people, and to just radiate my love. And yeah, I think this there's a lot of people here for the Bufo Alvarius, like the German guy that I just saw, and that guy is just, his eyes, he's radiant, he's so he seems so happy, and I'm very happy he's here. And he said it's just like, it's God, it is meeting God, it is experiencing God, perfection. Everybody that's done it says the same thing. Yeah, I'm excited. I almost didn't want to take this video because I wanted to hold on to everything and maybe write later, but I felt that maybe it would be good to express this, because when you hold on to things for a while, you're able to produce much deeper words about it, right? It like incubates, and then you just like vomit out all this information. And so now I'm kind of vomiting out this information. I'm getting it off my chest, so I don't have that like compelling feeling to tell the story anymore. So maybe that'll drop this idea, this sense that I need to cling to this knowledge and information, which, you know, as much as I come here and like, you know, I feel like writing is one of my gifts, and I felt through this that writing, I felt touched by people like Eckhart Tolle and who the people that wrote the Bible, and any inspirational author that I've ever read. I felt like touched by the source of where their knowledge comes from, and that it was almost being given to me and passed on to me to share this like biblical information, like almost like writing a new Bible, like the depth and intensity of that. And so I feel like by expressing this right now, I'm actually taking away some of my possibility to write better, because I'm getting it off my chest, so there'll be less of that like compelling urge to just dig deep and tell this story. But there's part of me that needs to be healed as well before I can explode this passion into language and words on paper, and in a way that other people can grasp and be inspired by. And so first I need to heal, and I'm aware of this. And so part of me just doesn't even want to write about this at all, and I want to break open my head. You know, I don't want my head to be wrapping around everything. I just want it to be open and allowing everything to come through me and heal me, and to be touched by God, and so that I can have that divine spark and smile that I can inspire other people through my life. And so I noticed that, like Jesus didn't write the Bible, he lived it, and other people wrote the Bible. So if I just live the beauty and the experience of what I've been shown, I just live it, and maybe through other people's photography, other people's interpretation of my life, other people could write about it. You know, I mean, that almost sounds like like, I don't know, egotistical, but like it feels like, no, just pure love and beauty. And like, if I just live the most perfection, if you just live perfectly, the story will be told somehow. And it doesn't need to be, the mind doesn't need to be trapped in this diving into the depths and then coming back out. Like, it's so hard to dive into these moments to write in detail. It takes so much out of you. And so it's almost like the same person can't do that. Like, you just need to live in perfection without diving into the head, and then the story will be told. You know, maybe through video. Maybe this is the next chapter. So cheers to the rebirth. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do Cambo, which is like a detox, a physical detox. They say there's not many there's no visions or pleasant sensations to go with it. It's just like you get burned. They put some frog venom extract into you, and you throw up and you shit, and it's like a purging, cleansing experience. And it's supposed to be a good start and base for the Bufo alvarius, and to cleanse all your energy centers, and to have a fresh palate to handle this God experience. And so that's to come. And then after that, so it's the Cambo, the puking shitting, and then I'm going to smoke Bufo alvarius and experience eternity in God. And then when I come back from that, it's ayahuasca again. And wow. There was so much information. I was shown these glimpses of that divine spark, and like the total healing and the passion and love and sharing. There's more to be learned, and I'm excited to come across it today. So namaste. Let's take a look at where we're at. Punto Hidalgo. Wow, what a perfect spot. I love the ocean. I couldn't ask for a better, I mean, I was like shown how this was my dream. And this is just how everything brought me here, and how I could experience even more of which dream. You know, you have many dreams, and how I can align my consciousness with the dream. And wow, the ayahuasca is like aligning yourself with perfection. The way it comes from plants, and the way plants just grow in perfection. It's a healing perfection experience. Wow. All right. See you on the other side.